So I asked you guys on the Discord the other day if you would like to see a video where I talk about some of the things I don't want to see in Starfield, rather than always talking about stuff I really do want to see. And a lot of you guys were interested, so I thought that we could do that today and have a somewhat casual, laid-back video to end the week off. But enough with my rambling, let's just get straight to the point. But first things first, we have a linear story. One of the things I'm actually looking forward to the most in Starfield is its main questline, which is really strange to me because I've never been a huge fan of Bethesda main questlines. I've enjoyed them all enough, sure, like they're not terrible or anything, but they've never really taken me away, and honestly I don't expect Starfield's will either. But when you break down absolutely everything that we know about the main questline, in my opinion it definitely sounds like the best main questline that Bethesda Game Studios have ever done. Now of course we'll have to wait and find out if that's actually the case, but one thing I definitely do not want to see in the main story is a linear path. I want there to be a lot of choices, a lot of different paths we can take like a true RPG should give us. And that brings me to my second don't want wish at number 2. No choices or consequences. One of the things I absolutely love the most about RPGs is simply just the choices and consequence, and in Starfield I really want big things to happen. If I make an evil character, I want that to massively affect the universe that I'm playing in. Take Fallout 4 for example. Once you finish the main questline, nothing really changed besides some flags and who was in Diamond City. Same thing goes for Skyrim. No matter who you pick in the Civil War questline, it doesn't really change much besides which Jarl sits where, and it, to me anyway, always felt extremely lackluster. Like if you have these great or at least decent questlines, then the ending just wouldn't change much. And in usual games that's kind of expected, but in RPGs your choices should absolutely just shape the entire world around you. And I'm really hoping that Bethesda aren't going to cut back on the choices and consequences in Starfield and give us a lot of them. Now if there is one thing that I am sick to death of in Bethesda games, it's always being the chosen one for every single faction. I don't want to become the leader of Constellation, or the United Colonies, or the Crimson Fleet, or the Freestar Collective, or whatever. Just let me be a guy that got caught up in something. I don't want to be the Dragonborn, or the Listener, or the Master Thief of every single faction, Bethesda. Please don't force this upon me again. I don't mind being a little important in the main questline, kinda like Fallout 4, but please, for the love of everything holy, don't make my Starfield characters become gods or something like that. A bit of a smaller one here, and this might be a little controversial, but I really hope that Starfield doesn't have a level cap. Now I know a lot of people want this because it sort of encourages you to try new playthroughs, but I want to counter that point. You don't need level caps to do multiple playthroughs in a Bethesda game. You just need to actually stick to your rules in your builds, which is fairly easy to do, at least for me. I dislike level caps because they're limiting. If I want to do a god level build and become great at absolutely everything, then I should be able to do that. Again, this is an RPG after all. And I know I just said please don't make me a god, Bethesda, but you know what I mean. Now judging from Bethesda Game Studios' past games, it doesn't look like we're going to have a level cap anyway, but that brings me to one of my biggest pet peeves in gaming, a point of no return. Points of no return have seriously ruined some games for me, at least a lot of the time. I hated it in Cyberpunk, I hated it in New Vegas, I hated it in Outer Worlds, and so on and so forth. The list goes on forever, honestly. Again, it's too limiting. I want to see the world change after the main story. Like I mentioned earlier, don't limit me. I like to do main quests first and then play in the world that I've created, so I'm praying that Starfield doesn't have a point of no return, because I'm going to be planning to beat the main quest first and then do all of the side content in the aftermath of what I've done. Oh, I'm going to go on a bit of a run here, so excuse me, but I know it's obviously a bit too soon to discuss DLC, but with Bethesda's last major game in Fallout 4, we got 2 good DLCs in Automatron and Nuka World, one amazing DLC in Far Harbor, which I will still argue is the best thing Bethesda have done since Skyrim, and 3 really kind of boring smaller add-ons in Contraptions Workshop, Wasteland Workshop and Vault-Tec Workshop. Now I'm very excited for outpost building in Starfield, don't get me wrong, because I really enjoyed building settlements in Fallout 4, but I really hope that Bethesda doesn't make half of the DLC for Starfield just outpost or spaceship building add-ons. Just put that shit in the base game and make every DLC a story. Or hell, even add these things into a DLC but have stories too. What I mean is take Shattered Space for example, the very first Starfield DLC that we know is coming. Now I don't mind if they do this DLC with a whole story, new locations and characters and companions, etc, etc, and then have it come with new ship parts or things to build your outposts. But I really just don't want to see 3 DLCs that do nothing but add a couple new things into the game again, because it felt really cheap and quite frankly lazy in Fallout 4. Now this is something that I feel a lot of RPGs struggle with, especially nowadays, but I don't want my characters in Starfield to already be someone. Fallout 4 definitely went a bit too far with this, to say the least. No matter what we did, we started as a man or woman from the pre-war times, got frozen in a vault and had our son kidnapped, escaped the vault and went looking for our son, and blah 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 blah. It's all just too much backstory. It made it very difficult to create other characters without mods that skipped the opening scene, right? Skyrim was a bit more freeing in this because you're just a prisoner, and that gives you a billion opportunities in making a backstory for your character, and as soon as you've done the opening scene you can pretty much go and do whatever you want. But we're still forced to be the Dragonborn. I know I kind of touched on this a minute ago, but we know that we will start Starfield as a miner, and we can choose a background for our character, which does make me think that Bethesda will give us a lot of kind of freeing, if that makes sense. I just hope that when we start Starfield, we are just a miner, and then boom, the rest is up to us. I don't want a full 20-minute backstory on my character, but again, it doesn't look like Bethesda are doing this, so that's great. Well, honestly, that's pretty much all I can think of. Most of the stuff that I've been low-key worried about, Bethesda have spoken about, and I don't have many worries for Starfield anymore. And even the ones I had, they were still very minor. So that will pretty much do it for me today, guys. I kindly ask that you drop the video a like for me before you go. It really helps out more than you can imagine, and of course if you want to stay up to date on Starfield content, such as news, leaks, discussions, information and plenty of other open world RPG stuff, consider subscribing because I cover it all over here. Lastly, as always, a massive thank you to our channel members. We've got a ton of new members recently and upgrades, so thank you all so much. You guys mean the world. Thank you again for being here month after month. It really does mean more than I could put into words. But that is it for me today, guys, so thank you all so much for watching, and I really hope to see you next time. Peace.